Hey everybody, how are you doing this day on this fine Wednesday? And I'm just sitting here editing some of the footage that John was nice enough to come over and help me shoot on Sunday night. Earlier I had watched a talk from Dr. Eric Westman at a conference of 2017. So he used a phrase that got me to thinking, and the phrase he used was progress versus perfection. And I thought that's an interesting phrase for a couple different reasons, but it got me to start jotting down some notes. But that phrase really kind of triggered some thought processes, so I just grabbed my pen and paper and just started writing stuff down. Progress versus perfection. And one way to look at that is going to be rich keto versus regular guy keto. Not that I'm anti-rich. I like money. I use money. I'd like more of it. But sometimes we have to kind of do this on a budget. And that's where kind of progress versus perfection comes in. Because I think some of the newer people, as they start watching and reading and learning and things, they're going to hear a lot about grass-fed beef and organic vegetables and go to your farmer's market and things like that. And it's like, you don't need to do that, okay? But like, for example, grass-fed beef. Yeah, if you can afford it, that's great. And I'm all for it. Personally, I prefer grain-finished beef. Now, the cattle I'm talking about are raised in a field. They eat grass all their life, and they're finished on grain to fatten them up. Isn't that interesting? Boy, they've been telling us to eat cereals and grains all this time, and that's what we give animals to make them fat. Anyway, another topic for another day. I'm on a budget. It's a tight month. All I can afford are some freaking hot dogs and some mustard. Works for me. That's low carb, right? You hear, MCT oils and coconut oils and avocado oils. Have you seen the price on those things? Yeah, a little on the pricey side. Butters, $4 Kerrygold butter versus $1.99 Lucerne or supermarket brand butter. As long as it just says cream in the ingredients and salt maybe, I'm fine with that. If you can afford the Kerrygold, it's awesome. I love it. That's just made from grass-fed cows, right? So, I don't want people to be scared away from this lifestyle and this eating plan because they think it's a very expensive thing to do. No processed foods. Well, that myth's kind of been put to bed. Deli meats, bacon, all that stuff, buy it on sale, eat it for your lunch, that's fine. Again, we're talking about what we can do to get better and make progress. We don't have to achieve perfection right now. So do what you can do, Just keep the carbs low regardless of the quality of the food. The neat thing is, like with ground beef, for example, if you can buy the big chubs of the 73 to 75% lean meat, that's cheaper than the 93, 97% lean meat that we probably want to stay away from because there's just not enough fat in there. So that actually works in our favor. You can buy the fattier ground beef and it's cheaper. And then buy it in bulk, freeze it, you're good to go. Farmer's market. Yeah, farmer's markets are great. Have you been to one? Not the cheapest place in the world to shop. The produce is fantastic, but I don't shop there on a regular basis. What about a drive-through? I'm fine with that. I have a whole article on how to eat out at fast food joints, right? It's better than the alternative, right? And it's going to get you on your way. So you do what you can do and you start down the road, right? So if you can't do grass-fed butter, you can't do grass-fed panda massage beef raised on the southern side of the Himalayas by Sherpas, that's fine. Get what you can get. If it's ham and cheese roll-ups and hamburger patties wrapped in lettuce, I've done that many a night. Ham and cheese and turkey and cheese roll-ups are one of my lunch go-tos. I talked about it in the last live. Have them on hand. I love that kind of stuff. When you do grill some meat or cook something, cook a bigger portion and have that to take for lunch, the next day. That just saved you five. I don't even know where you can get a $5 lunch anymore. That saved you $10 from having to eat out anymore. So. But the main thing is eat as much of this type of food, low carb, high fat, moderate protein, until you're full. And this throws a lot of people off because we're so used to calorie counting, and calories matter. Well, all right, let me rephrase that. Food energy matters. Calories are a tool that we develop to quantify food energy. What your body, all it understands are fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. That's what your body does. And one of those three things that you eat, it goes down a different metabolic path. It's not like you have a big sink and the calories go in and the calories go out. We just made that up so that we could figure out a way to quantify food energy. So that said, do not restrict what you eat as far as portion size. Eat until you're full, not stuffed. And when you're hungry again, eat again. And what's going to end up happening, and it's not going to happen overnight, but over the first few days, first couple of weeks, you'll realize you don't have to eat by the clock anymore. There's no more habitual or habit eating. You don't say, it's 7 a.m., I have to have breakfast. It's noon, I have to have lunch. It's 5, 6 p.m., I have to have dinner. You'll find yourself, once you're what we call fat adapted, not hungry for a certain meal. And if you feel like skipping it, skip it, but don't force yourself to eat. And so when I say don't restrict calories or food energy, what I mean is it will naturally decrease. You are actually going to naturally eat a little bit less. And in fact, some people actually eat not enough, and then their basal metabolic rate slows down. And it makes it harder for them to lose weight. And that's one of the causes for a stall, is actually not eating enough, which, again, that's probably another video. But let's say you're just starting out and you're eating low carb for the first time, and probably for the first week to 2 weeks, eat again as much as you want till you're full. And in those first week or two, the majority of the weight you lose is going to be water weight as you flush out inflammation. We've talked about that before. So as you lose this inflammation, in the meantime, you're not going to be burning a ton of fat. You'll be burning some. But in the meantime, you'll be getting what's called fat adapted or into ketosis. And then that way, once the inflammation has been reduced and you actually start to not lose water weight, if you're now fat adapted, you will just naturally be full sooner. Okay, so again, you don't have to count calories because you're just going to stop when you get full. And it will be naturally a lower amount of food. So if you want to overeat in the beginning, you'll still lose weight because you're losing water and inflammation. But in the meantime, you're getting fat adapted and preparing your body to run off of burning fat. So that's why we're eating more fat, is to teach our body that this is hey, remember this? We can use this. And then when we run out of what we ate, we've got a whole big store of it right here on my belly and my butt, and we'll use that, and it'll transition straight into burning that and not even create hunger for you. That's how we're able to fast. You'll hear about intermittent fasting and extended fasting. If you do that off of the standard American diet, you will feel like you're starving the entire time. When I fast for 18, 24, 36 hours, I honestly am not any more hungry than I am when I eat on a regular day when I would have a meal. So, and that's because my body has shifted into burning fat and never triggered a hunger sensation, because it's like, oh yeah, look at this, I just found the freezer, let me just dig in there. And I'm going to do a whole video on fat storage and insulin and the role it plays, which is a huge thing. Going back to the original topic, because these are all kind of linked, these are all things people are worried about, is don't worry about the quality of the food right now. I mean, as things change and you're able to improve, go for it. That's great. But hey, have hot dogs, ground beef. Grocery store produce is just fine. That's where I get mine. Okay, I get mine right around the corner at the Albertsons, and there's nothing wrong with it. If you can't go to the farmer's market and you're not totally into vegetables yet, a couple bags of frozen broccoli, some frozen whatever, and you take them out and eat them as you need to, fine. Again, I keep referring, it's not a bag of Cheetos now, is it? Do the best you can with what you got. Remember, progress over perfection. And then once you're on this for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks and you're clicking along, then you're going to fine tune it to your specific body needs. Hey, it turns out I can't eat as many tomatoes as the next guy, or I'm super sensitive to dairy, or whatever it is. And these are all things that you'll learn. But once you get all the crap out of your system and just start eating real whole food, you'll be able to listen to your body and understand what it's telling you, right? So don't worry so much about the scale. Take your measurements. You will naturally go back to whatever weight your body wants to be. So if you're overweight, you'll lose it. If you're underweight, you'll gain it. In the meantime, you're going to be flushing out inflammation of the joints, the gut, the brain. And this is going to fix a lot of things that are wrong with a lot of people. Okay, I'm off on another tangent now. I apologize. I needed a break from staring at this computer, and it is kind of creepy staring at yourself for hours at a time as you try to cut this stuff together and find something usable where you don't sound like a complete idiot. And they say that the camera adds 10 pounds, and I still think there's probably about 8 or 9 cameras on me. So hopefully things get better. Have a good evening. Support each other. Stay positive. Stay strong. The journey gets easier, and the benefits are completely worth it. So take care. Have a great night.